Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there? Maybe you misplaced your keys, forgot a name, or missed an appointment. Most of us have experienced moments like these. But what if those little memory slips started happening more often? What if they became something much bigger? For millions of seniors over 70, this is where the story of Alzheimer's disease often begins. And here's the frightening part. Alzheimer's rarely announces itself with a loud warning. It doesn't arrive overnight. Instead, it quietly sneaks into a person's life, one small change at a time. A forgotten conversation, a missed medication, a familiar face that suddenly seems unfamiliar. At first, family members may laugh it off. Oh, Dad's just getting older. Grandma has always been forgetful. But sometimes, what looks like normal aging is actually the beginning of something far more serious. Imagine spending your entire life building memories, raising children, celebrating birthdays, falling in love, overcoming hardships only to slowly watch those precious moments slip away. That's the heartbreaking reality Alzheimer's creates for many families. One of the earliest warning signs is memory loss that disrupts daily life. We're not talking about occasionally forgetting where you left your glasses. We're talking about repeatedly forgetting important information, asking the same questions again and again, or relying heavily on notes and family members to remember things that once came naturally. Picture a grandfather asking what day it is. 5 minutes heos again, and again, and again. At first, it may seem harmless, but over time these patterns can become impossible to ignore. Another early clue is forgetting recently learned information. Seniors may remember events from 40 years ago with incredible detail, yet struggle to recall what happened earlier that morning. This can leave loved ones confused and worried. How come? Mom, remember her wedding day perfectly, but forget our phone call from yesterday. The answer may be hidden deep within the brain itself. Alzheimer's affects areas responsible for forming new memories first. That's why recent events often disappear before older memories fade. And this is only the beginning. The warning signs can become more surprising, more emotional, and sometimes more alarming than most families ever expect. As Alzheimer's begins to tighten its grip, the warning signs often move far beyond simple forgetfulness. In fact, one of the most overlooked symptoms has nothing to do with memory at all. It has to do with confusion. The kind of confusion that can quietly turn an ordinary day into a frightening experience. Imagine a 75-year-old woman standing in her own neighborhood, a place she has lived for decades. She knows every street, every house, every corner. Yet suddenly, she stops. She looks around, and she doesn't know where she is. Her heart starts racing. Panic sets in. The surroundings seem familiar, but something feels terribly wrong. For many families, this is one of the first truly alarming signs of Alzheimer's disease. Seniors may begin losing track of dates, seasons, or even the passage of time. They may wake up convinced it's Monday when it's actually Friday. They may prepare for a holiday that passed weeks ago or become confused about whether an event happened yesterday or years earlier. To younger family members, this can seem unbelievable. But for the person experiencing it, the confusion feels absolutely real. And that's what makes it so heartbreaking. Another warning sign is difficulty completing familiar tasks. Think about activities that have been part of someone's life for decades. Driving to the grocery store, following a favorite recipe, paying monthly bills, using a television remote. These tasks once felt effortless. Now, they suddenly feel overwhelming. A grandfather who balanced finances for 40 years may struggle to write a simple check. A grandmother famous for her holiday dinners may forget ingredients she's used her entire life. The frustration can be enormous. Many seniors become embarrassed. Some even try to hide their struggles from loved ones. They smile. They're not. They pretend everything is fine. But deep inside, they know something is changing. And perhaps the most emotional part is this. Many seniors recognize these changes before anyone else does. Imagine realizing that your mind isn't working the way it used to. Imagine knowing you're forgetting things but being powerless to stop it. That awareness can create fear, sadness, anger, and even isolation. Some withdraw from conversations. Others avoid social gatherings. Not because they don't care about family and friends, but because they're terrified of making a mistake or forgetting something important. And as these warning signs continue to grow, another symptom often emerges. One that can dramatically change a person's personality and relationships. One of the most painful truths about Alzheimer's disease is that it doesn't just affect memory. It can slowly change a person's emotions, behavior, and even their personality. And for many families, this is the moment when everything starts to feel different. Imagine a loving father who has always been patient, calm, and kind. Suddenly, he becomes irritated over the smallest things. A simple question makes him angry. A minor change in routine causes frustration. Family members are shocked. What happened to Dad? The answer may not be stubbornness. It may not be a bad mood. It may be Alzheimer's, as the disease affects different areas of the brain. Emotional control can become more difficult. Seniors may experience mood swings that seem to come out of nowhere. One moment they're laughing and enjoying a conversation. Minutes later, they appear upset, anxious, or withdrawn. For loved ones, this emotional roller coaster can be heartbreaking. But perhaps even more concerning is when seniors begin pulling away from activities they once loved. Think about it. A grandmother who never missed family gatherings suddenly stops attending. A grandfather who spent every Saturday with friends decides to stay home alone. A person who once loved reading, gardening, fishing, or playing cards loses interest completely. At first, family members may assume it's depression. Sometimes it is. But in many cases, Alzheimer's is quietly playing a role behind the scenes. Why does this happen? Because everyday situations become harder to navigate. Conversations become confusing. Names become difficult to remember. Following a story becomes exhausting. Eventually, some seniors begin avoiding social situations altogether. Not because they want to be alone, but because they fear embarrassment. They fear forgetting. They fear being judged. And underneath, that fear is something even deeper. Anxiety. Imagine realizing that your mind is changing but not fully understanding why. Imagine feeling lost during conversations you once enjoyed. Imagine sensing that something isn't right, yet struggling to explain it. That uncertainty can be terrifying. Many seniors become suspicious or fearful. Some may accuse family members of moving belongings that they themselves misplaced. Others may become convinced that people are talking about them or hiding things from them. To family members, these reactions can seem irrational. But to the person living with Alzheimer's, the fear feels completely real. And as the disease progresses, another warning sign often appears, one that can place seniors at serious risk. As Alzheimer's disease continues to progress, the warning signs can become more dangerous not just for memory, but for everyday safety and decision-making. And this is where many families begin to realize that something serious is happening. Imagine a grandfather who has always been careful with money. For decades, he paid every bill on time. He balanced his checkbook. He planned family budgets. People trusted him because he was responsible. Then suddenly happening. Bills go unpaid. The same bill gets paid twice. Large amounts of money disappear. He falls for a phone scam that he would have recognized instantly just a few years earlier. Family members are stunned. How could this happen? The answer may lie in changes occurring deep inside the brain. Alzheimer's can affect judgment, reasoning, and problem-solving skills. Tasks that once seemed simple become confusing. Decisions that once felt obvious become difficult. And unfortunately, scammers often target seniors who are struggling with these changes. But financial mistakes are only one part of the story. Personal safety can also become a major concern. Picture an elderly woman preparing dinner. She turns on the stove. Phone rings. She walks away. Minutes pass. Then hour. The burner is still on. She has completely forgotten about it. Or imagine a senior leaving the house for a short walk. A route they've traveled hundreds of times suddenly feels unfamiliar. They miss a turn, then another. Before long, they're lost, scared, confused, and miles away from home. These situations happen more often than many people realize. For families, every phone call becomes frightening. Every unanswered text feels alarming. Every unexpected delay raises new worries. Yet one of the most heartbreaking signs is something many people never expect. Difficulty recognizing danger. A senior may wear a heavy winter coat on a scorching summer day. They may walk outside during freezing weather without proper clothing. They may trust strangers too easily, or they may insist on driving despite no longer being able to react safely to traffic conditions. To them, everything seems normal, but to loved ones, the risks become impossible to ignore. And perhaps the hardest part is this: when family members try to help, seniors may become defensive. They may insist nothing is wrong. They may reject assistance. They may genuinely believe they're managing perfectly well, not because they're being difficult, but because Alzheimer's can affect awareness of the disease itself. And as painful as these changes are, the final stage of warning signs may be the most emotional of all. By the time many families recognize the true warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, their lives have already begun to change forever. And often, the moment of realization comes unexpectedly. It may happen during a family dinner, a holiday gathering, a birthday celebration, or an ordinary afternoon that suddenly becomes unforgettable. Imagine sitting across from your mother, listening to her tell a story she has already told 3 times that day. At first, nobody says anything. Everyone smiles politely, but then she pauses, looks directly at her own grandson, and cannot remember his name. The room falls silent. A heavy feeling settles over everyone, because deep down, they know this is no longer normal forgetfulness. This is something more. For many families, these moments become impossible to ignore. They begin noticing patterns, the repeated questions, the confusion, the personality changes, the poor decisions, the forgotten appointments, the lost belongings. Suddenly, all the puzzle pieces start fitting together. And while that realization can be painful, it can also be the beginning of something incredibly important: action. Because one of the biggest mistakes families make is waiting too long to seek help. They tell themselves, maybe it will get better. Maybe it's just stress. Maybe it's normal aging. But Alzheimer's does not simply disappear. The earlier it's recognized, the sooner families can work with healthcare professionals, explore treatment options, plan for the future, and create support systems that improve quality of life. And perhaps most importantly, early action allows families to make the most of the time they still have together. Because Alzheimer's may affect memory, but it does not erase love. It does not erase compassion. It does not erase the deep bonds built over a lifetime. A father may forget a conversation. A mother may forget a date. A grandparent may forget a name. Yet the emotional connection shared with loved ones often remains, far longer than many people realize. That's why patience matters. Kindness matters. Understanding matters. Every smile matters. Every visit matters. Every hug matters. And if you have noticed any of the warning signs we've discussed throughout this video: persistent memory loss, confusion, personality changes, poor judgment, withdrawal from activities, or increasing difficulty with daily tasks, don't ignore them. Start the conversation. Ask questions. Seek professional guidance. Because recognizing the signs early could make a tremendous difference for both seniors and the people who love them. And remember this powerful truth: memories are precious. Time is precious. And every moment spent caring for the people who once cared for us is a gift that can never be replaced. Because, in the end, Alzheimer's may challenge the mind, but love remains stronger than memory itself.